The other day I'm driving home from work in the E46 and I'm on the back roads and everything seems fine. I go to get on the highway. Once I hit around 65, the steering wheel starts shaking violently. My first instinct was that there was snow in the wheels. That's what it felt like. It was shaking that bad. Or like severely unbalanced tires, which these tires are new and they had been fine the days up to this. So I knew it wasn't the balance of the tires. So what I did was try to manipulate the brakes. I assumed it was one of the brake calipers hanging up. And obviously it was in the front because the steering wheel was shaking violently. If I put it up in the air, this wheel is extremely tight. It shouldn't be that tight. Passenger side moves nice and easy. That's the way it should move. So I ended up getting 2 front calipers, so let's go ahead and do those. I had done the rear calipers recently, so I knew those were fine. Well, I mean, you can always get bad new parts, but either way. We'll just see if we can compress the caliper at all. Not really. Alright, let's just take it apart. Ah, there we go. Oh yeah, this boot's all swollen. If I can compress it at all. There we go. Alright, the brake pads don't look too bad. You know, obviously when you have a caliper that's seizing up, you want to get new brake pads and rotors, and I will, but I'm not doing that today. I'm going to end up getting those at work. So when you have a caliper like this and you're going to replace it, make sure you replace the brake pads and the rotors as well, unless they're brand new. These are probably about 2 years old. There's still some meat on them. I'm assuming the rotor is going to be warped, but that's going to be okay. I just need to get it rolling again so that I can get to work, and I'll do the brakes at work. But look at this piston. That's horrible. Slide this pad out. Doesn't look good at all. So if you have a piston with a boot like that, replace that caliper. Now another thing that could be happening is the brake hose itself. If you didn't notice anything going on with the caliper, what I could have done was compress this caliper. As I'm compressing it, open up the bleeder screw. If fluid comes out and then it compresses easy, you know there's something going on with the hose. The hose is probably collapsed inside. Now these hoses are 20 years old, so they're original to the car. So it's time to change these. Here's a trick I'm gonna do to prevent brake fluid from coming out when we disconnect this brake hose. This isn't something you normally want to do if you're just doing a brake job or anything. You never want to step on the brake pedal with the brake caliper disconnected from the vehicle. What you want to do is find something that you can go in between the brake pedal and the front seat. You can even push down with your foot as far as you can. Back the seat up a little and push the seat forward. Just enough to keep pressure on that brake pedal. The brake pedal is all the way down. That's pushing the valve in the master cylinder forward, so it's going to prevent brake fluid from coming out. Now when I take that brake hose off, a little bit of fluid might come out, but not much. And it did push the caliper piston out a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. The brake pads actually slide in the bracket. That's the other thing you'd want to look at if the caliper wasn't frozen. See if the brakes are able to slide in the bracket. So those look pretty good. I'll just clean those out with a wire brush a little bit. Here's the new brake caliper I got. You know, I got one for each side. So this is the driver's side, bleeder screw at the top. And they come with new bolts, so I'm gonna have to lubricate the bolts a little bit. Come with new brackets, and they come with a new banjo bolt, but I don't need banjo bolts. So I got new stainless steel brake lines. They're braided. I got them in red because I thought red was cool. And I actually did these on the rear of the vehicle already. I had a problem earlier this year. I just hadn't gotten to the fronts yet, so now we're going to do the fronts. If you're interested in any of these parts, I will link them in the description. Just make sure you check the correct model year for your vehicle. Make sure the parts fit for your car. This is a 2001 E46 325 XI, so it's all-wheel drive. They're probably the same as the other ones, but just in case. So I'll just thread the brake line in. There was no grease on these pins, so I took those out and greased those up with some brake caliper grease, so those are good. So, all right, before we put this together, let me just wire brush this a little bit. This one can go in here. The other one, slide it over. And if you prefer, you put some caliper grease on where the brake pad slides are, but I generally don't. Depends how I feel that day. Good. Good and snug. Put this bracket on. All right, that's nice and easy. So we want to run this the way the old one went. Go through here. I guess I could slide it in there now. That looks good. And then that's gonna go right there. So we gotta get the old one out. Obviously you want to use a line wrench if possible. So this is a 11 millimeter. Go, it broke free, so that's good. Put a drain bucket underneath. Some fluid's coming out. I know this is tedious. Alright, so that's up. Pull that out. And see? There's no fluid dripping out of there. That's because we pressed down that brake pedal. That's pretty cool. So pull this brake line out of the way. Slide the brake hose in place, and it goes through there. What am I going to do here? It shouldn't go through there. Yeah, that's good. That's weird that there's no lip on the bottom there. If you've bought similar braided brake lines and they haven't had a thing on the bottom, let me know what you did, because I'm just gonna put a wire tie under there and hold that. It's not gonna go anywhere. So yeah, that's weird. There needs to be like a lip at the bottom of these, or like a washer or something. So alright, here's an idea I had. I have these rubber washers. I don't even know what they go to, but it's a little bit bigger than that size. And I can get this over here somehow. Even if I used a snap ring pliers, I can fold this over. I shouldn't have to do this, but I don't know what else to do. Like I said, if you have any ideas, let me know. So that's gonna prevent that from sliding through. There we go, like that. It'll at least hold it there for now, because that won't go through. All right, I'll give that a try. If this works good on the passenger side, I'll go back and take the other one off on the driver's side. It's not perfect, but the other thing I thought of is finding a washer that fit around here and then slicing it so that I could slide it on. That might be a good idea. And then hopefully it just stays on there. Could even like epoxy it to the bottom. Well, that didn't really work too well. The spring wouldn't have enough tension on that. But what I did find is if you have where the nut side is, if you have that twisted just slightly, then it keeps it below this bracket. And then there's enough tension on there to spring that. Maybe that's what their thoughts are. You use a 15mm wrench, you get it so that it won't go through the hole, and then you tighten that nut down. That's the only thing I can think of. That seems like that's gonna hold pretty good. So I think I'm gonna loosen the other side, just move it a little bit so it stays just like that. So that'll be fine. That was pretty good. Now I can grab the old brake caliper and hose and just slide it out of the way. Well, look at that. It's a good thing I got new hoses. Like I said, they're 20 years old, so I didn't even see that. So get new hoses. And slide this brake warning indicator back in place. And this can go over the bleeder, so it can hold that from getting in the way. I'm gonna do the other side as well, and then I can take that brake pedal off, and then I'll bleed them. All right, some fresh brake fluid. Before I disengage the brake pedal, I am going to open up the bleeder screws on both sides, just so the brake fluid can come right down the brake hoses. Those brake hoses look good, don't they? Huh? Take that off the brake, move the seat back, let that out. And it's already started coming out on the driver's side. All right, now they're dripping, so I can close these up. I did have to close these, pump the brake pedal a few times just to get the calipers full of fluid. And now there's a steady stream. So now I can just bleed them normally. And I'll just have an assistant bleed these with me. Push it down and hold it. Holding? Yeah. All right, let up. Now push it down slowly and hold it. All right. Push it down, let up. And then push it down and hold it. All right, that's good. All right, so that worked out great. No more shaking on the highway. Everything's smooth as glass. Even braking, there's really not that much pulsation. I thought that rotor was going to be way worse and need to be replaced right away, but I think I could go a little bit longer without replacing those brakes. Now this car is my daily driver, and I do many other Beamer budget builds if you want to check those out. There's always going to be problems with this car, so there's going to be many videos in the future. Even with all the problems, it's still a great car. I love driving it. And hey, it's still cheaper than a car payment.